Alright, what's up, y'all? I really don't like doing videos in the car, but I wanted to talk about some things real quick. Didn't have time to really make videos in the house. So I just got my ticket for the fight tomorrow, Golovkin against Lemieux. Just got my ticket. Not great seats, but at least I'm going, you know. I had to cut down a little bit. I usually never like going to fights unless I'm pretty close, but it is what it is, you know. At least I'm going to the fight. I think Golovkin is winning that fight. If you haven't seen my videos on it, you know, I think Golovkin is going to win it in 5. The odds are kind of crazy, so I put down a little bit of money or whatever just in case for Lemieux, just in case he does win, you know, pulls an upset. But I think Golovkin is going to win the fight. But if Lemieux does win, you know, and shocks the world, at least I can make a little money, you know. I didn't put much of anything up, so anyway, just wanted to talk about the fights from the last couple of days, and fights coming up. Tonight we got what's this guy, Nathan Cleverly fighting Andre from Farah, and then Saturday we got Lamar Peterson's first fight at 147 against Felix Diaz. And if you saw my video last week on the junior welterweight division, you saw that I mistakenly put Lamar Peterson in a discussion because I thought he was still fighting at 140. I thought he was still the champ, the IBF champ at 140. I should have checked before I made the video, but I didn't. I just assumed he was, right? But yeah, so let's talk about the fights the last couple of days, all right? There was a few fights, couple heavyweight fights. Let's start off with Gerald Washington against Amir Mansour, right? You know, I didn't see the fight live. I turned to it when it was only like a couple rounds left. You know, Mansour looked kind of banged up, so I had just made an assumption that he was losing and didn't do too well. But according to my Twitter timeline, they were saying that Mansour should have won the fight, right? I did go back and watch it, and it was not a good fight. You know, it was not a good fight. Gerald Washington gassed out way too early. Way too early. He seemed to be doing pretty well with his height and his range early on. And Mansour just, who I think is the more experienced fighter, because I know he was fighting before he did his time in prison. But he just could not find his range against Gerald Washington. And even though he won the second half, like every round in the second half of the fight, he just never really found his range. You know, Gerald Washington was doing a lot of movement, but he wasn't really fighting. You know, the dude was extremely gassed, and he just didn't look good. And, you know, going into the fight, I thought Amir Mansour was going to win. I thought he was going to win the fight. I thought he was going to win by knockout because I've never been impressed with Gerald Washington to begin with. You know, he fights kind of amateurish. You know, another guy that, you know, football career didn't go to where they thought it was going to go, and he wanted to try out boxing. We've seen so many of these guys lately, big guys. But, you know, I thought Amir Mansour could have gotten the win, but, you know, I wasn't mad at the decision. I didn't see anyone say Gerald Washington won the fight. All I saw was some people say that it was a good tie, or they thought Amir Mansour won the fight. But neither one of them looked impressive, you know. Mansour just couldn't find his range. And for him to be a heavyweight and a shorter heavyweight, he's got to have to find a way to get on the inside of these guys if he expects to be successful against top heavyweights. You know what I'm saying? This is pretty hard to do because normally I could just sit the phone down and when I have my old iPhone, but I got this iPhone Plus and the phone is so damn big, I gotta hold the phone because I can't sit the phone anywhere because it's so big it'll just slide on the floor. But anyway, and I'm driving stick. So but anyway, so you know, the fight really wasn't impressive. But now let's move on. Let's talk about the Joseph Parker fight. You know, Joseph Parker is my guy. I like Joseph Parker a lot. I actually like him more than the other You know, out of all of the heavyweights on the come up, I like him the most. And he fought Cali Meehan, a guy that's been in the ring with a lot of top fighters back in his day. You know, so, you know, I definitely recognized his name when I found out that they were fighting. And Joseph Parker stops him in the 3rd round, or knocks him out in the 3rd round. And you know, I mean, I'm ready for Joseph Parker to step up a little bit, you know. He's going to keep beating up guys. You know what's funny? I did a video with him and Anthony Joshua and Dillian White recently, and it got so many views, and so many Joseph Parker fans really liked the video. And, you know, he has a good fan base. You know, he has a pretty big fan base on that side of the world. And, you know, I'm watching the fight, and I was like, man, only if this dude got the opportunity to fight on the PBC against either Gerald Washington or Amir Mansour, he would have destroyed either one of them. You know, I think he's by far a better fighter, and he's big too. You know, I believe he's like 6'6" as well. And that horrible heavyweight matchup that was on PBC, the main event, I'm like, Joseph Parker should have been on there fighting either one of them, you know. And he needs to get some more recognition on this side of the world, you know. But he's a really good fighter, and I'm sure he'll get his opportunity. But he looked good against Meehan. I mean, he did what he had to do, and it was an impressive knockout, you know. Meehan is way past his prime, but, you know, he never really was that great to begin with. You know, I think I seen him years ago fight Rahman, and who else he had fought? I can't remember, but he never really was that good to begin with. But, you know, Joseph Parker, he does, you know, regardless if they were that good or not, Joseph Parker is, what, 14 fights in? All right, and he's knocking guys out. He's beating guys like the way he should be. Just like Anthony Joshua is, and just like Dillian White is, or a lot of other up-and-coming heavyweights, you know. But I'm ready to see him step it up a little bit, you know, gradually step it up. But another good win for Joseph Parker. Who else? What other fights? Oh, the Devin Alexander fight against Aaron Martinez. You know, it's a shame because, you know, these guys, you know, Devin Alexander, Robert Guerrero, you know, guys like Louis Collazo, and these guys, Paulie Malignaggi too, you could throw him in the mix. These guys are just names at this point. And they're just pretty much bait for the guys that's on the come up. You know, guys like Errol Spence, and, you know, guys that are top contenders like Sean Porter, like Keith Thurman, you know. These guys, and Diego Chavez is being used, you know, and I made a video about that. You know, these guys are just names at this point. Devin Alexander is not a real contender at this point, you know, and he's not going to beat anyone that pressures him. Tim Bradley showed the blueprint of how to beat Devin Alexander, and everybody's beating him the same exact way. You just apply pressure and you're going to beat him. I don't know why I came in this. I have an easy pass. I came in this damn toe. So ever since that Tim Bradley fight, everybody pretty much knows how to beat him, you know. I mean, he's still good, you know. He's going to beat DeSoto Carrasas and a few other guys, but, and, you know, the thing about Aaron Martinez, because he should have, you know, I think he won the Guerrero fight. I thought he knocked Guerrero out. That was crazy. That was a scary moment because he had Guerrero hurt. Guerrero's on his feet. He was out on his feet, and he just dropped. I thought he was done. I'm surprised he even got up. But Aaron Martinez, I feel like he's just a guy that's just getting built up to get blown away by like an Errol Spence, or like, let's say if Keith Thurman and Sean Porter doesn't happen. I won't even be surprised if Keith Thurman gets in the ring with an Aaron Martinez, if the Sean Porter fight. I wouldn't even be surprised at this point. If we judging based on Thurman's track record and who he's been facing, and I'm not blaming him. I don't know whose fault it is, but I wouldn't even be surprised if the Sean Porter fight don't happen, Keith Thurman get in the ring with him, or Errol Spence, Errol Spence. But maybe the fight would be a good fight a little bit, because Aaron Martinez it looked good in his last couple fights. Based on how he's fighting, pressure fighter, he's fighting like he got nothing to lose, and maybe Errol Spence, maybe this guy can give Errol Spence a little trouble. Maybe Errol Spence will knock him out early. Who knows? But he beat Devin, and Devin is just at this point, he's just a name at this point. He's no more top 10 welterweight. We could get him out of discussion of him being a top 10 welterweight. He's not top 10 anymore. He's not, maybe he's top 20, maybe. Squeeze him at the end of the top 20. You stick him in there and go Guerrero. They're just names. Devin Alexander didn't even win the fight against Lucas Matisse. To me, I say that all the time. That was a gift win for him. But I give him credit because he's fought nothing but good fighters. Every single fighter he's fought was a good fighter. He had no tune-up fights since he's been on top at 140. Every fight he's had reminds me of Jermaine Taylor, Jermaine Taylor was taking all those losses, but at least he was fighting top guys after top guys. Even after losses, he was fighting really good quality fighters, and he was fighting at super middle when he wasn't even really a super middleweight, he was really a middleweight. So you got to give Devin Alexander some credit because he's fighting nothing but good guys, but he's not winning, he's not winning. And all that Floyd talk about him not fighting black fighters and stuff like that, thank God he didn't get the match with Floyd, because that would have been domination. I'm glad he didn't get a shot because, Floyd wouldn't out-pressured him, but he would have outboxed him, just like Amir Khan did. So, moving on, a couple fights coming up. Got Cleverly against Fanfaro tonight. At first, when I heard it, I was like, oh, Fanfaro's going to blow him away. But you know what? Nathan's still pretty good. Nathan's good. I hope he stays, regardless of the outcome of this fight. I hope he just stays at 175. Because he looks small against Bellew in that rematch they had. He just looks small, man. I hope he can continue to cut the weight, especially because he's still kind of young. I hope he can still fight at 175. Should have never moved up to me. I don't think losing to Kovalev, obviously it's not a big deal because Kovalev has been destroying just about everybody he's been in the ring with. So that wasn't much of a big loss. I think he should stay at 175. And I think it's going to be a good fight. I think it should be a good fight. He's a pretty good boxer. Fanfaro is hittable. He's very hittable. But Fanfaro's a pretty big guy at 175. You seen him bully Chavez. It was the first time Chavez actually got bullied in a fight. So the fight should be pretty good, It should be pretty good. But I think I'm going with Fanfaro on this one. I think Fanfaro's going to pull this one off. I got Fanfaro winning. Fanfaro has just been looking impressive since he got knocked out back in the day by... was it Curtis Stevens that knocked him out back in the day? I can't remember who knocked him out when he was fighting at a lot lower weight. Was it 147 or 154? Fanfaro was tall and real skinny back in the day, but he's definitely stepped up. Great beating Campillo. Stopping him in a fight that I thought he was losing. And he looked good against. He looked really good against Adonis Stevens. He got pounded away, but this guy had a chin, man. This guy stuck around, and he was taking big punches. But I like Fanfaro. I think he's going to win this fight. I think it takes, like, the top guys at 175 to beat him. Okay, I think it might take, like, an Andre Ward or a Kovalev. And even Adonis Steve, what's his name? Pascal against Fanfaro should be a good fight. They should fight too. I don't see why that fight haven't happened yet. Okay, and let's move on. I think there's one more fight I wanted to speak on. The Lamont Peterson fight against Felix Diaz. I've seen this Felix Diaz guy fight recently. I believe it was on the PBC. I'm not really impressed with him. I believe he's the Dominican gold medalist or something like that. I'm not really impressed with him. He fights like he's like a southpaw. He's kind of wild to me. He's a little too wild for me. I don't really like the way he fights. He fights a little too wild, you know. He comes in with his head down, just swinging sometimes, and he has a big amateur pedigree. You know, he has a lot of fights in the amateurs and everything, and he doesn't fight like it, man. He fights like an amateur to me. You know, I can't really describe his style to you. He's like really wild, but he's undefeated. And this is Lamont Peterson's first test. And I think Lamont Peterson should win the fight, you know. Overall, I think he's a better, you know, he's a taller guy, rangier guy. He can fight on the outside. You've seen him fight against Danny. And you saw how good he looked on the outside against Danny, you know, in them earlier rounds, even though it was enough activity. But he looked good, and he's a good inside. He got a great inside game, Lamont Peterson. And I think he should be able to catch this guy and hurt him, because this guy leaves himself way too open. Lamont Peterson should win the fight. You know, I have him winning this fight, but it's going to be a really physical fight, because I think this guy fights like a caveman. This guy gets crazy sometimes, you know, and leaves himself completely open. I think an uppercut is going to be the punch to do it. It's going to hurt this guy, you know. But this guy, you know, I don't think he has a good like KO ratio, but you know, he's very aggressive. You know, he's an ambush guy. You know, he'll fight a little bit on outside. He's going to be forced to being turning up the pressure against Lamont Peterson if he wants to make it a good fight. And I think that will be his downfall when Peterson, you know, catch him with a good shot. And Peterson should be fighting at 147 anyway, you know, because the guy walks around and once he's coming in and fights in the 160s, he should be fighting at 147 anyway, you know. But that concludes my video. You know, I just wanted to bring up stuff. Golovkin fight, already did the videos on that. Watch that middleweight video I did recently, and watch the prediction video breakdown of the Lemieux fight. And that's it. Oh, one thing I wanted to bring up too. Yo, what's up with the PBC this week? I seen them talking about it on Twitter. Steve Kim and a bunch of people was on timeline talking about how the PBC got all these cards this week to try to take away from the Lemieux Golovkin fight. What do you guys think about that? Because this week, PBC had like about 5 cards this week. It's crazy. They had a lot of fights this week. Wonder why this week of all weeks, you know, trying to take away some of the shine from the Golovkin Lemieux pay-per-view. But if they are, you know, it's not a big deal. You know, that's competitive. That's business. You know, and they're competitors, and they're trying to get HBO out of here. So that's expected. But a lot of PBC cards this week. None of them really good, but you know, there was a lot of them this week. But anyway, I'm out, y'all. See y'all later.